is Madhura Mandarvartak. Today I'll be discussing some of the key insights I developed while exploring digital marketing, customer behavior, and conversion strategies. One thing that became really clear to me through this process was that digital marketing isn't just about attention. While getting people to visit website, it is important that results doesn't always guarantee. What I found that customer behavior, trust, decision making play much bigger role in determining whether some actually converts. I also realized that uncertainty and friction can have significant impact on customer action. So, a lot of my recommendation focused on reducing uncertainty and creating a smoother path for attention to action. With that in mind, I'll start by looking at. So, moving on to the slide 2, when I started analyzing conversion elements, I initially saw things like hero section, reviews, CTAs, and presentations as personalization as individual website features. However, after looking at them more closely, I realized that all serve similar purpose. They are designed to increase customer confidence and reduce perceived risk. For example, reviews and social proofs reassure customers that other people have already had posted experience with the brand. That reassurance helps reduce uncertainty and make the purchase decision feel safer. Similarly, clear calls to action help guide customers towards the next step instead of leaving them unsure about what to do next. So, one of my biggest takeaway was that effective website create confidence before asking customers to take action. Also, once I understood the principle, I applied it to a real website audit. Moving on to the third slide, the website audit gave me an opportunity to evaluate how this concept worked in practice. Although the website had strong visual appeal, I noticed that it lacked some of the important trust building elements. There were many limited social proof product information wasn't always detailed enough. Some opportunities to reassure customers were missing throughout the journey. What stood out to me was the website expected customers to trust the brand before enough trusting the if before the trust has been established. Because of that, my recommendation focused on aesthetics and more strengthening trust. That is, improving clarity and making the experience easier to navigate. Ultimately, the goal was to reduce hesitation and support better decision making. This then led me to the concept that I found particularly interesting, which was tax versus friction. Moving on to the slide 4, one framework that clearly changed the way I think about customer behavior was the tax versus friction framework. Initially, I assumed that customers mainly abandoned purchases because of price, but the framework showed that the situation is actually much more complex. Customers are often willing to invest time, effort, and even accept degrees of risk when they believe that value just justifies it. That's where we refer to as tax. Friction, on the other hand, comes from unnecessary barriers such as confusing navigation, slow loading speeds, complicated checkouts process, or maybe even hidden cost. What I found more interesting is that customers are usually willing to pay tax, but they are much less willing to tolerate friction. This was the biggest highlight why user experience is so important. It also explains why A/B testing is valuable because it allows business to test different options and make maybe different decisions because on actual customer behavior rather than just assumptions. So moving from website optimization, the next area focused on product positioning. On my next slide, one of the most interesting strategic challenges involved positioning with which Rush with energy drink market, the Kusora Rush with energy drink market. The market is already dominated by strong brands and consumer habits, which make the differentiation very difficult. Moving on to the slide 6 that leads into lead generation and relationship building. One thing I realized that customers are much more willing to share their information when there is a meaningful value of exchange. Rather than just simply asking for an email address, the Focus Lab concept was designed to offer educational content and exclusive value in return. This creates benefit for both customers and the business. The educational content helps establish trust, credibility, and reward, and exclusive access to encourage an engagement. To support this, a structured email journey was created to guide customers through different stages of the relationship. What I liked about this approach is that it focuses on building long term trust rather than just chasing immediate sales. On that note, once those relationship begins to develop, CRM becomes extremely important. Moving on to the seventh slide, a major insight for me was understanding the role of CRM system in modern marketing. CRM system allow building business to connect to customer data, understand behavior patterns, personalize communications, and automate engagement. This makes it possible to build stronger relationship at scale. Two loyalty pillars stood out in particular: convenience loyalty and psychological loyalty. Convenience loyalty reduces effort and makes the customer experience easier, which psychologically the loyal creators stronger emotional connections with the brand. Together, these factors help increase retention and encourage advocacy and improve customer lifetime value. What became clear is that long term growth is not driven by one transaction, it is driven by strong relationships. That brings to me to my final takeaway, which is my slide 8, that overall, the strongest lesson I learned was that the successful marketing is fundamentally about reducing uncertainty. Whether I analyze conversion elements or maybe auditing a website, maybe exploring user experiences or positioning a product or examining CRM strategies, the same principle kept appearing. Customers are more likely to engage, convert, and remain loyal when they feel confident. When they feel really confident in their decisions and when their experience feels really simple and frictionless. Trust, reliance, and consistency ultimately have great impact on long-term success than any individual tactic. That note, I end my presentation. Thank you so much for having all your ears on me. Thank you.